Hey everybody, it's Brent with Clean Cut Woodworking. Today's video, I'll show you the process of setting up the router sled and actually using it, and then different options on how to use it. Here what you'll see is I have some riser blocks that I've made. The rails that I'm using are only 60 inches long, and my workbench that I'm about to flatten is 85 inches long. So what I did is I went ahead and cut these riser blocks. I attach those to my workbench first, and then I go ahead and attach the rails to that. As you can see, what I did first was screw down the riser block down to the workbench, and then I come back and I'll attach one rail on one side. Once I get that rail installed, I'll go ahead and put my sled onto that one side of the rails and then go around and repeat the exact same process. Now on this side, before I actually screw the riser block down to my workbench, I'll go ahead and slide the rail into it and operate the sled from one side to the other. That way I can make sure that my alignment is correct before I actually screw down the riser block. Once I get all my alignment correct, what I do is I'll slide it down to one side. I'll go ahead and put one screw into the riser block and then slide the sled itself back to the other side, attach that side to the riser block then. What that does is that ensures you have proper alignment on both sides for your sled from the rails. Once I got both sets of rails screwed down to the blocks, go ahead and test the operation, make sure everything's nice and smooth, and now we can go ahead and attach our router to the actual sled itself. Everybody's router is going to be set up different since everyone attaches a different way. Mine, I have the option of attaching it straight from the top to the bottom. You may actually have to screw in from the bottom. I would say at that point you can just take the sled back off, or you can attach your router to it beforehand. That way you don't have to go back and forth off and on with your router. What I like to do is pay attention to what side the actual switch is on and what side I'm going to be working with the most. If there's one particular side that you're actually going to be working on, then I would say put that switch closest to you. That way you have a quick operation of that switch for safety reasons. Make sure your sled's attached nice and tight. Ensure proper movement in every direction. And then now it's time to have some fun. Grab you some PPE, eye protection, breathing protection. What I like to do when I set the depth is I'll try and find the highest spot, bring my router bit down to that, and then find the lowest spot. And usually I want to make right at about no more than about a 16th to an 1/8 worth of cutting on every pass. Make sure you go ahead and tighten down your router's depth. That way it doesn't move around on you as you're using your sled. If you note here when I first start, and then you want to pay attention to your router bit rotation. When you do your edges, you want the rotation of the bit to actually go into the piece you're using, not against the piece you're using. You don't want it to blow out the edges. And then also note where my hand location is. This is the absolute safest way that you can use this router sled. When I'm using it, I'm not putting any pressure downwards at all. Where my hands are, I'm using those bearings to hold the router sled. Because what happens is, whichever way you're going, whether you're going right or left, the router's either going to want to pull away from you or push towards you, just because of the rotation of the bit. When you're holding those bearings like that, it allows you to have a lot more control over where that bit's going to go and how it's going to act. Now onto the fun part. This is one of my favorite things about this whole setup is my workbench is 85 inches long. I made the riser blocks 90 inches long and my rails are only 60 inches long. So without having to add another rail system or to extend it, the 60 inches will work. So what you're going to do is unscrew the rail from one side. You're going to slide it down a little further, as far down as you need or as far down as it'll reach, staying on top of that riser block. You're going to screw the one screw in and then go around to the other side, disconnect your other rail and slide it all the way back down to the other side as well. At that point, you put one screw in on this side, slide your whole sled all the way to the further side that you don't have a screw in, and then put a screw in on each side over there. Double check once you've got those reconnected on each of your riser blocks. Go ahead and make sure that you still have smooth operation of your sled all the way down your entire rails. Once you get your rails moved, now you can go ahead and put your PPE back on, plug your router back in, then you can flatten the rear side just as you did the front side. Again, note where my hands are. This allows you to get the best control out of your router sled. Now on to breaking this thing down. Breaking it down is extremely simple. Disconnect your router, or if you don't have the ability to disconnect it from the top, then simply slide the sled completely off your rails, set it aside, unscrew your rails and set them aside, and that is it. It's as simple as that. What I usually like to do after I get my rails disconnected, I'll take a little small zip tie and put it through one of the screw holes. I'll take the whole assembly, both rails and the sled, set it off in the corner of my shop, and that's where it'll sit till the next time I use it. If you enjoyed this video, or if you'd like to see more tips or tricks, or if you have any comments or questions, actually, I'd like to hear them. I'm very open to ideas and suggestions on future videos, and if you like this video, please take a moment, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. You can also find me at Clean Cut Woodworking on Instagram or on Facebook.